these are global spies, and they're on a chase around the world. And so you do certainly get that travelogue element that goes along with the spy genre. I think hopefully we subvert it and surprise you in different ways. There are a lot of twists and turns in this show, and you have to really pay attention to keep up with it.
Hello, how are you guys?
How are
Good,
you?
love that wallpaper.
Thank you. Priyanka, I am loving you in Citadel so far. I love that you had to play a few different versions of Nadia depending on what she remembers and what she does with what she remembers. But what would you say is at the core of her being?
I think the core of her being is she is in her head always trying to do right by her job, her responsibility, her family, her, she has a sense of morality that's her own. And that could be amoral, but she justifies it to herself. I think she operates in gray, and she's okay with that. In fact, all the characters operate in gray, not just by the nature of their jobs, but as human beings. They're okay with being, with living in blurred lines. So she's just very interesting, but I feel like Nadia is not someone, who needs anybody else. She might want people in her life, but she's a sole operator. She can survive alone, and that's a very solitary life.
I love the opening scene with Nadia and Mason kind of switching off languages, which felt like a precursor to, this is a global franchise. We're going to see Citadel in different places, different cultures. So how else would you say that's woven into the show in the first season, Joe?
And it's intrinsic to the whole concept of the show. Jen Salke pitched us the idea originally, and she runs Amazon Prime. And her idea was, look, I want to make a show that has a sort of U.S. flagship that can splinter off into regional shows, made with talent from those regions in those local languages. So the whole concept behind the show was to tell a global story, to create a community of artists, diverse artists from around the world working together to build a universe, an original story. So it's woven throughout the DNA of the show, and it's also intrinsic to the story because these are global spies and they're on a chase around the world. And so you do certainly get that travelogue element that goes along with the spy genre. I think hopefully we subvert it and surprise you in different ways. There are a lot of twists and turns in this show, and you have to really pay attention to keep up with it.
Priyanka, you mentioned Nadia being a solitary person who doesn't need anyone, but Mason is not going anywhere, and you and Richard have fire chemistry. So what is that push and pull like for you?
Actually, working with Richard on set is really wonderful because he is an extremely prepared actor. He loves, spending time really thinking about why his character is making the choices that they are. He not just does it for himself, but he does it for all the characters associated with him. And we kind of built this trust very early on where we could check each other or correct or inform each other of, what our characters are doing without having any ego or pride. We knew we were both, two parts of a whole on this show. And as soon as we had that clarity, it just became so fun to kind of dance with him because we both protected each other just like Nadia and Mason did.
Thank you, guys. I cannot wait to see the rest of the season. And, Citadel and Italy, Citadel, I'm going to call it that. And
Citadel
India.
is great. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, your name sounds like a spy name, Tatiana.
Oh, well, I will be joining in season 2. Thank you.
There you go.
Have a great day.